Hello friends, welcome to Awdhesh Academy. Friends, today we are going to discuss a case study where a project in charge of a elevated corridor gets into a deep problem and ethical dilemma. So let's read the case study first. An elevated corridor is being constructed to reduce traffic congestion in the capital of a particular state. You have been selected as the project manager of this prestigious project on your professional competence and experience. The deadline is to complete the project in the next 2 years by 30th June 2021. Since the project is to be inaugurated by the Chief Minister before the elections are announced in the second week of July 2021. While carrying out the surprise inspection by the inspecting team, a minor crack was noticed in one of the piers of the elevated corridor, possibly due to poor material used. You immediately informed the chief engineer and stopped further work. It was assessed by you that a minimum of 3 piers of the elevated corridor have to be demolished and reconstructed. But this process will delay the project minimum by 4 to 6 months. But the chief engineer overruled the observation of the inspecting team on the ground that it was a minor crack that will not in any way impact the strength and durability of the bridge. He ordered you to overlook the observation of the inspecting team and continue working with the same speed and tempo. He informed you that the minister does not want any delay as he wants the chief minister to inaugurate the elevated corridor before the elections are declared. Also informed you that the contractor is far relative of the minister and he wants him to finish the project. He also gave you a hint that your further promotion as an additional chief engineer is under consideration by the ministry. However, he strongly felt that the minor crack in the pier in the elevated corridor will adversely affect the health and life of the bridge, and therefore it will be very dangerous not to repair the elevated corridor. Now the questions are as following. Under the given conditions, what are the options available to you as a project manager? B. What are the ethical dilemmas being faced by the project manager and his response to overcome such challenges? And C. What are the professional challenges likely to be faced by the project manager and his response to overcome such challenges? D. What can be the consequence of overlooking the observation raised by the inspecting team? Now friends, this is a very typical case study which often the officers face in the government department, and here we have to think like a project manager who is in charge of the project and what is going to be his reaction. So let's start the answer of this particular question. In the first, we are going to discuss the options which are available to me as a project manager. One option is that we obey the order of the chief engineer and complete the project on time. Second is try to convince the chief engineer about the adverse consequences of completing the project. Third, refuse to obey the order of the chief engineer, demolish and reconstruct the corridor. Fourth, proceed on leave or resign from the job. And 5, write to the officer senior to the chief engineer about the inspection team's report and take remedial action. So these are the options. We'll discuss subsequently what are the best options. Now, in the second part of the question, let us discuss the ethical dilemma. Now, the project manager here is facing the dilemma because he must take all the decisions in the public interest. He's a public servant. So his main dilemma is public interest versus personal interest. Suppose he refuses to obey the order of the chief engineer and stop the construction of the bridge. In that situation, he may save the life of the public, but he may lose his promotion. And that is the problem which he is facing. So, what should he do? he must first try to convince the chief engineer by opting the option 2. And if that option fails, in that situation he can follow the option 5, that is, he can write to the officer who is senior to the chief engineer, so that they can take the view, the final view, and if they feel that the view of the engineer is correct, project manager is correct, inspecting team is correct, they can order for stopping the project and chief engineer has to follow. So that way he can opt for option 5 and inform the senior most officer to re-examine the issue on merit. Now, third part of the question is about the professional challenges and the response. The project manager has to obey the order of the senior officer once the objection has been overruled, unless an even higher ranking officer endorses his view. Friends, in the bureaucracy we work on the principle of hierarchy. If I have raised certain objection and my boss has overruled that objection, in that situation I have no option but to follow the order of the boss unless his boss overruled his objection. So that is the point we have to understand. Now the dilemma is that if he chooses to report the matter to the higher authority, he is sure to face the anger of the chief engineer. And that is a problem which definitely he is going to face. And another dilemma is that he has to also overcome the political pressure to take action against the contractor for using inferior material and doing an unsatisfactory job, because there again he is going to have the political interference and political pressure. But he must do his duty according to law without any fear or favor. Next part is about the consequence of overlooking the observation. Suppose he decides to overlook the observation, then there is a possibility that the corridor collapses due to cracks, and in this way many lives of innocent people will be lost, and consequently he and his superiors may face suspension and criminal charges of negligence and not performing their duties properly. So it's not that if you just follow the order of the chief engineer, there is going to be no consequence. There can be human life loss, and at the same time they will also face departmental action and maybe the charges of corruption as well. And therefore the right course of action is to do your job according to the law in the public interest without any fear or favor. So friends, in this way we can write the answer of this particular case study. Thank you very much.